Hello, I'm Jaren, and I'm here to bring you anything and everything interesting. Today I'd like to talk to you about space travel. When I was a little kid, I always wanted to be an astronaut. Not so much anymore, but space travel still gets me excited to think about. I love thinking that one day we could be among the stars, visiting other planets, possibly even meeting new beings. We may not currently have the technology to fly vast distances in an instant, but we are drawing closer to another kind of technology that can make this distance feel more like a dream. NASA has been looking into stasis as a viable means of transporting astronauts to Mars and back to Earth. The trip to Mars with our current ships is about a 6 month trip, which we could do. However, the psychological impacts on keeping a crew awake for 6 months inside a tiny, cramped spaceship is too detrimental to the overall goal. However, we already have a form of stasis. It's just not really called that. Doctors use it whenever they receive a patient that has had a traumatic accident or injury. They put the patient in a medically induced coma, known as therapeutic hypothermia. Basically, what they're doing here is they're lowering the patient's body temperature to around 93 degrees and feeding them some painkillers to keep their body from activating the shiver reflex. This buys the doctors essential time to decide what course of action needs to be taken in order to save the patient's life. Most of the time, however, this is only buying them about 3 days tops, and 3 days is nowhere near the 180 days needed to get a crew from Earth to Mars and then back again. However, NASA has been looking at this closely, hoping to find a way to use this method viably for space travel. And they have found that in China, there are some surgeons who use a similar technique to this one, and they are able to keep their patients under for about 14 days with no negative side effects. This actually makes it more viable for space travel now because they don't have to keep everyone under. Basically, they're going to stagger the entire crew's sleep cycle. So there's always one person up monitoring everyone else. And then when it's time for that one person to go to sleep, he wakes up one person and then that person monitors everyone else for a couple of days. And they'll do this for the entire time until they make the 180-day trip to Mars. NASA still wants to find a way to keep the entire crew asleep for the entire trip, but some experts believe that technology won't be available for at least another 30 years. Well, that's all I have for you today, but I'll see you next time, bringing you anything and everything interesting.